Oh shit, we got bad angles. Make sure they're all the good angles.
Alright, let me suck in my panza right here.
La pancita. ¿Cuál pancita? La lonja.
All right, we are live. We're live, guys.
What's up,
So,
brother?
welcome to the bump. And I got two very special guests with me today. Very, very good friends of mine. I think when did we meet? A few years ago, right?
I think it was kind of briefly.
Yeah, kind of like
Briefly, and then
mutual
we all
friends.
have mutual friends that have stayed connected.
Yeah.
awesome. So,
Friends.
want to introduce my two guests here. We have Karen here on my right, Kevin, her brother,
What's up?
and local Scottsdale kids, local Mexicanos.
Yeah, we're from Phoenix.
Yeah, me too. Born and raised.
Yeah, we live in Phoenix still.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're just gonna talk about a lot of things. We talk about music, punk rock. We're gonna talk about skating. We're gonna talk about just stuff that's going on around the world and in our neighborhood. Just talk music too. So along the way. But welcome, guys. So
Thank
we
you,
are
brother.
live. I just kind of want to first kind of start off. I always ask people like, what was your introduction to like music, like your first experience growing up? Like, do you guys want to touch upon that?
Well, as far as music, I think we grew up with like mom kind of singing in the car, like
our
Los Tigres del
parents' music.
Norte, kind of stuff
Okay.
like that as we're driving. Dude, I
Or
still
Spanish
remember
music.
Spanish music. I still remember probably like my 5th or 6th birthday. That was like one of my presents. I asked my mom to play a song for me. She like
Wow.
took me to a corner and was like, while the party was kind of having their thing, and like played that song for me. And it was a Los Tigres del Norte song, but
Which
just,
one? Do you remember which one it was?
I don't know. That's the thing.
dang.
She
I know.
that was our thing because we were little. I would
I'm
like
always
play that song.
I always hear songs and I'm like, I've heard
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah, like when your
I
mom's
need to
cleaning,
know that song. Like, I
hearing
need-
that radio
Right.
recuerdo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those like mesa en el rincón type of feeling, like real sad, but like it just made me feel connected to them and
Yeah.
just like what we listen to on a
Damn.
day-to-day basis.
That's funny that you say that too. And I know so Kevin's into punk music, and are you into like the Smiths, the Cure, like that kind of?
I've never
stuff?
really got into that too
Okay.
much, and that's just me being honest. And I know a lot
Yeah.
of people kind of dabble into like Bauhaus and that kind of stuff, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is go with that. Is that a lot of the songs like the Mexican songs like corridos,
yeah,
or even like the sad songs, it kind of like sparked that fuel for like Mexicans to like get into like rock music and like the Smiths, like
Absolutely.
in Mexico, like Morrissey's like a god there
Yeah.
apparently. So
really, I
yeah,
didn't even
he
know.
really is. I went to go see a cover band actually at Rips one time.
Yeah,
And there was like a LA like Chicano band that was like covering
dude,
the
that's
Smiths.
badass.
It was tight. It was really cool. He had the flowers and everything
Oh
too.
wow,
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like a lot of that is like deep rooted in like what we grew up with, like
Right.
the sad, like mariachi music,
Yeah.
Totally.
Juan Gabriel, that kind of stuff, Vicente Fernandez.
absolutely, man.
Yeah. But like, yeah, what was you guys' like? What was your first experience, Karen?
With music?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it definitely stemmed from my parents' like Mexican music, but
Yeah.
I don't think that was like intentional until I got like older. And honestly, my first like CD or whatever was like a Britney Spears CD.
Dang.
Yeah, I
Dude.
was like a big Britney Spears fan.
So I don't know. Did you watch another
I'm not
podcast? I
ashamed.
talk about like my first exposure in music was
Yeah.
like listening to Radio Disney and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like Aaron Carter,
Yeah,
Backstreet
yeah.
Boys.
And I think that's like a
Yeah,
big thing where like
exactly.
a lot of people have
like I'm a
this like
90s kid.
right,
Yeah.
but a lot of people have this machismo where they're like, no, I never listened to that. I like grew up just, dude.
Yeah.
I haven't like, do you,
Like,
and Karen
everybody's-
will attest to this. Like my first CD ever was,
Oh, yeah,
dude, it's
Cisco.
the thong, yeah, like that, yeah.
My first CD was Nelly, Country Grammar.
Oh God, yeah, and I remember being little and my mom being like, "Why did you want that?" And
Yeah.
I got it, and ended up every other song on there just is like
I remember in like
terrible.
the 2000s we would be like getting ready for school.
Yeah.
And we would just be watching MTV when MTV had music.
Yeah, when they still played
Back when they
videos
played
and whatnot.
videos.
Yeah, literally.
Like, Ludacris was on there,
Yeah.
Outkast.
Yeah.
We were,
Absolutely.
like that's what like really was like the stem
That-
of it
that-
all,
yeah.
like the roots, you know,
Damn.
So
and like
yeah,
That is crazy. Yeah.
I remember those days.
I know we only had cable like every like couple of years because we couldn't afford it. So we had like the free trials for cable for like 30
Sick.
days, and
Yeah.
then we had no cable. So I watched the shit out of TV.
you're like play it 24/7.
Yeah,
it's in the
dude,
trial.
I would
We're
like
fucking
try to
milking
stay
this bitch.
home and like watch MTV or watch all those shows.
Right.
And then I remember one night I was watching Toonami, and they had this
I remember
Toonami
that,
Midnight Run.
Yeah.
And like they were playing like the animated videos that were out at the time, so they were playing like the Gorillaz, Daft
Yeah.
Punk, and I forgot who else they played. And it was just like their music videos, and I was like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who's Daft Punk and who's the Gorillaz?" And that's what introduced me to like that kind of stuff.
kind of
So it's
style,
crazy
yeah.
how we had like those experiences, you know.
Yeah.
There was like this really good network for a while. So I remember specifically when we got cable. Like I was in 6th grade. I think she was in 5th grade. And Ozzy Osbourne was the first thing that we saw. It was his actual show.
He had like a
Like
reality
Sharon,
show.
that kind of thing. Remember? Yeah.
yelling at school.
Yeah. But from there, you'd start flipping through the cable, and we found this thing called Fuse Television, Fuse TV.
It's more
And
like alternative.
more alternative, and they also catered to like right scraping towards like punk and just kind of something more obscure.
Yeah, like
You know what I
dabble
mean?
in it a little bit.
Right. And then, from there, I remember specifically, like Andrew Lujan was a good friend of mine when we were little, and his brother Manny was a drummer for a straight edge, like kind of hardcore band.
Okay.
And so we were going to his shows from like 4th grade to about 8th grade, sporadically. I wasn't going there all the time, but when Andrew invited me, and you'd start getting into things like Minor Threat that stemmed from that, that straight edge culture. About 7th grade, I believe, Christy Bar, what's up? Well, thank you. She went to Virgin Records, which is over at Arizona Mills, and I'm surprised they even had it there, and bought me the discography for Minor Threat. And at 7th grade, everyone is like listening to like Good Charlotte and all that kind of stuff.
To Good Charlotte.
Simple Plan. And I'm there
Take It Back
fucking
Sunday.
bumping Minor Threat, and
Hawthorne
I'm trying
Heights.
to like, and I'm like listening to this shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is so different. And I'm trying to get my friends into it, and they're like, yeah, that's not really into our thing. So I feel like Karen and I would both agree we've always been a little like we've always had a good circle around us, but we've also been strong in the sense that we think a little differently, and like even if people don't follow that, and there's no problem, stick to your
Exactly.
I feel like for me it's like because you were like a big influence like growing up for me, so it's like I was always exposed to like different music, like punk music, and then eventually like I got into like hip hop and like like older rap, and then I showed Kevin that
side of it, because
Shout out to the paletero man.
I know.
Paletero.
Hey, get some ice cream.
Should we go get some shit?
Well-
You want me to get some stuff in the middle of the interview?
No.
nah.
Like, they only
Una
stop
chamoy
till-
We're gonna eat pho later. Anyways.
Yeah, right.
But no, yeah. So like my little sister, she was like my little brother basically. She would listen to the same kind of music, but she like I'm listening to like French pop music, and she's listening to like Drake. So she had like her own path.
Right.
We listen to similar things like what was it from like we used to listen to like from first to last.
Oh,
and,
okay,
like,
cool. Yeah, we did too.
and
when we were
30
little.
Seconds to Mars.
I
We
never
would play
got
that
into
on Guitar Hero.
Yeah, there you go.
So like we had like our similarities, where we were like intercrossed, but she kind of like did her own thing. And I went off on my path.
How far are you guys in age?
She is 20. I should know her age. I'm sorry. I never knew her birthday. I know the day. I don't know the year.
You're being a gentleman.
But
you don't want to reveal
I think
it.
she's 25 now.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And my other sister's 26.
So that kind of there's no barrier in between that's too far, so you guys get along really well.
Yeah. Pretty much for the most part. We play Halo and stuff together.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so my first experience to like punk music or even just crazy rock music was through Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Dude.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think the first song that I remember. So there was two bands.
Hell
That
yeah.
I remember. It was Motorhead and it was Sublime.
Ace of Spades for Motorhead.
Yes, Ace
Yeah,
of
that's the
Spades.
one. I knew it.
I was like, what is this? It just starts like dun 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 dun. I was like,
I think,
what the
yeah,
Just
yeah.
takes you back.
yeah,
Such a good song, right?
And then I remember the Sublime song was,
What song was
Doing
it?
Time. Summertime. It was on the Venice level.
Dude,
Okay,
they
yeah.
had a sick
Right.
soundtrack.
Dude, yeah, and that's dope. Like a lot of music that I learned is from there. Like Dave Mirra's BMX, all rap music. They had like
They had
Gangstar.
Gangstar. They had what was it? Moment of Truth on there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's lonely
And I
at
remember,
the top.
yeah, and I remember that was like what
And I feel like that's what we grew up on.
literally,
pretty much.
yeah. So for me, I think that's kind of where you start crossing paths. Where when you think about skateboarding as a subculture and punk rock as a subculture, they really intertwine. It's kind of this. Not that you're an outcast. I wouldn't say that, but that you just kind of think a little differently, and you put yourself in a different pocket, if you will. And it was a beautiful mesh, in my opinion, where Tony Hawk, Dave Mirra decided to allow people to kind of like throw in these styles of music that's just not necessarily punk, but hip hop on a underground level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that underground. You know, that's that difference. You know, and to help expose these artists, because I think about like Dead Kennedys were on there at some point. The Addicts had been on there.
Yeah.
Atmosphere, as far as rap goes, had been on there. Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Yeah,
That was one. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that
Favorite.
specific. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
So
I think wasn't what's his name? Atmosphere on there too as well on one of them.
Yeah, I think that was like I'm trying to find a balance is what they use as far as the song. I think it would have been like maybe Tony Hawk 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But a lot of those tracks like inspire me to like who's Gangstar, like who's this band, like
It hooks you. You start listening and you go, this isn't the radio friendly stuff. And maybe some of it is radio friendly, but it kind of it makes you think differently. You know what I mean? It's not.
yeah, like I heard the Dead Kennedy song. I forgot which one it was, but I looked him up, and the next song I fucking heard was Nazi Punk's "Fuck Off." Like that was my next song. I was like, "Who the fuck is this? Like this is tight."
Right. Yeah, I think with a lot of those songs, it's like one of the most beautiful things where you find a song and it kind of has all these words that you've always had in your mind, but you didn't put them in the right way, and you're like, "Holy fuck, I agree with that." And like
I know what you're
that's
saying.
exactly how I've been feeling, but I wasn't as articulate.
It's like as if skateboarding and punk music, or even just like any genre of like bending music, is like in a form of expression that people attach to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
It's a voice for a crowd, like you said, that hasn't been heard.
right.
Yeah.
And so
Well, so what do you listen to? Like, I know you still skate and stuff, so.
I listen to a lot of like hip hop still, some punk from Kevin,
yeah.
but
We've been
I feel like my favorite artist is Erykah Badu.
Really? So you listen to everybody when you're
Yeah.
skating?
I'm like, I
Wow.
love her music so much.
What does that make you feel like? Do you feel like it's like calming, that it's just like you, the skateboard there?
I feel like it's just like flowing pretty much.
Wow.
But if I'm listening to like a punk song, like if I'm listening to like Operation Ivy or like Lower Class Brats or something when I'm skating, like I feel like I'm going like in. You know,
Yeah.
just like
In the zone.
the
like-
aggression goes up.
yeah, it's kind of just like you get like it's like a mindset, you get like so into it.
Okay.
But other times it's just like you just want to chill and like flow and like
Right.
go slow. But sometimes
That's interesting.
you
Yeah.
just want to go hard. I don't know.
Yeah, no, like I would imagine, because I haven't skated for a while. But I remember when I used to skate, I would listen to like just whatever was like. I was into the emo scene when I was
No,
skating.
dude, absolutely.
So I listened
Sure.
to like Hawthorne Heights, My Chemical Romance,
Right.
Good Charlotte, AFI, and like all those
I used
bands.
to listen to all that stuff.
AFI was different though, because they started really like
Yeah.
they started like in the punk scene, and
Yeah.
then they started falling off a little.
Fall Out Boy too, I heard. Like
Oh,
they were
yeah,
like more
yeah.
punk
I didn't
technically,
follow.
you know.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm like, I have a few like Spanish songs on my stuff too. I like
Really?
listening to like Mana when I'm skating.
Okay. Like the more
pretty
rocky
much-
stuff, or like
I think you're wearing
Yeah.
a Manat shirt too, aren't you?
Oh no, I was earlier.
Oh yeah.
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 But pretty much anything. I just it depends how I feel. Like if I'm trying to go like in on something, like
Yeah.
skating.
The harder the music.
Yeah, the harder the
you go
music,
in.
but-
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it also depends who's like around me, and like the environment is like it makes me feel different.
Yeah.
Whoever's there.
So do you listen to like different music when you're like going to a park you've never been before, or like one that's familiar?
I probably wouldn't even listen to music if I go to a new park, because
Really?
I feel like I have
Trying
to
to
be
get
aware.
used to your new environment.
Yeah.
True.
And,
That makes sense. Yeah.
at the wedge, I like know my way around. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm pretty good at reading like where people are going.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
You know
I
your
just
way
try
there.
to stay like out of people's way as much as I can.
Do you ever feel like? Have you ever felt like? I don't know. When did you start skating? Like.
I started skating in 2016, so it's probably been like 3.5 years.
Okay. So you're like still not fairly new, but you're kind of recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
But before that, I had a little like cruiser board, and I got that when I was in high school, because we always had to take the bus everywhere.
Yeah.
We lived like 30
Probably about
30 minutes away.
30 minutes away, and
from
then
where all
like
of
the
our
nearest
friends
bus
were.
stop was probably about 1.5 miles away, so we always rode to it.
So one day I was like, I'm getting a cruiser and I'm gonna just skate to the bus stop and like
That's
save
tight.
time. And
Okay.
I would do the same thing, but with my
Yeah.
regular skateboard.
I feel
Yeah.
like that really helped me like with balance and being able to like turn and stuff. Like
Yeah.
the foundation of like skateboarding.
That's it.
Yeah, we picked up skateboarding like when we were really, really young. We had 2 friends that turned us on. They were just like in a kind of a skateboarding family, if you would. Like that was just like their thing. And I picked it up. She picked it up obviously a little later, but yeah, I dropped it off like right after high school.
Damn.
Yeah, I feel like it was always like in my life too. Like there was always like growing up, I remember like our family friends skating and like
Yeah.
hippie jumping like over a broom and stuff.
Right,
Just doing
yeah.
like stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then like Kevin getting into it, and like it was always like there for me, you know, but like I didn't really get into it until like 3 years ago. And like
But it's like a freedom to like be able to just ride out,
completely,
you know.
man.
Yeah, because I know people who even been like homeless and just like as long as they had their skateboard, like that's all they needed.
Yeah.
Like I'll find a place to sleep or whatever kind of
I
thing.
feel like the best part is like you don't need anybody to do it. You
Yeah.
just like there's been times where I'm like I need somebody, like I want to talk to somebody, but then I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna go skate.
Yeah.
Like I don't need anybody.
It's a little escape
have
from
myself.
everything, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mentioned homeless people. I know you guys have been working on some stuff recently, and I'll post it up on the thing so people could see the posts and everything. But do you guys want to kind of elaborate, like? So I'll be straight up and honest. Like because I used to live in Scottsdale, so like I know some people that live there.
Yeah.
And I saw those signs where they're like, you know, what does it say again? It says
it's really. Let me pull it up. So like we're legit. And
I know what it
clear.
kind of says, but I want to butcher
right,
it.
and that's exactly why I'm going to pull up the same thing, because I would butcher it. And it's really fucked up. Number one.
Yeah,
because
and I'll let you know what I thought at first, because like I read it differently until like I looked at it and I was like, oh, I see what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because you probably thought that we were like for it or something.
No,
No.
that's like an
No.
actual
All right. Well,
sign.
number one, let's
read it.
read
Go
the
ahead and
sign
read it.
out. The sign is in Scottsdale. They implemented 25 signs in the most saturated tourist areas.
Yeah.
So as like people from Canada are coming in to like supply Scottsdale of money. You're thinking about people from like Minnesota, Chicago, all the snowbirds. That's what we call them, quote unquote. Come in and that's fine and dandy that they give the town a little extra money, but you and I have been on the streets before, and someone has asked you and I for a little handout. Can I get $1? To go eat. If you don't have it, what do you say? My bad, man. I don't have it, right?
I don't have cash.
Why the fuck is there there's no necessity to have a sign that implies that people should not give to someone. If you don't have it, that's fine. But if someone's like looking for some food, like it's not the wrong thing to help them out. What I mean? So the sign reads, "It's okay to say no to panhandlers. Give instead to agencies that help those in need." Karen and I decided to cross some of those off with like our little painting, and she'll read it off.
So it says it's okay to help or to give to those in need. But
So
it's just like kind of degrading, like to put that sign, like I've seen like homeless people right next to it, and it makes me feel like bad. I'm like, dude, like.
Yeah, and
we're
like
failing the people. Like that's how is that even possible?
right
to make
like
someone feel subhuman,
there's
you know,
resources,
like
but
we're not equal. It's like you.
Since see at first when I read it, I was like, oh, it's good that they're saying you should give to like places that help people out or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. But then I looked at it from the humane perspective.
Exactly.
And then I was like, oh shit, no.
Like, you don't
They're doing this because it's a Scottsdale.
Exactly.
And then they're trying to keep this image, like you said, the most friendliest city, cleanest city.
They're
they're
quote
just
unquote, like when you drive into Scottsdale, it says Scottsdale City, the most livable city.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. Like you
It's
really
hypocrisy, yeah.
a lot of the time too, they've had officers, and I've seen it where they pick up the homeless people there and they drive them down the way.
I saw this fucking I saw these cops like bringing in a homeless old lady that was just sleeping under the bridge, and they just like
They just don't want them
they're so
there.
like they like put gloves on to like move her shit, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
leave her the fuck alone.
And that to me is just to treat someone so like subhuman, like.
Yeah, and that's what I looked at. It's like no, it's like it's the establishment trying to be like, I wouldn't say racist in a sense, but to try to get rid of
it's like
what they deem as scum or whatever, you know.
Yeah, they're like trying to tell you like what to think. They're like, don't
Literally.
like
we don't want
don't
you
give
here.
them money. Like
Yeah.
don't help them.
Yeah.
And there's another sign that they just implemented, which changed a little bit. I don't think you've seen that one, but I'll send it to you so you can put it up next to it too. Where it's a little more harsh even.
What does it say?
I can't remember.
I think it was there.
You and I. But it's a little harsher even.
Yeah, it's like the same kind of sign. But
it's the same
different-
concept, but
different words.
So,
No, yeah, it's exactly what people say it is, that like people won't openly be blatant as on it or racist as they used to, or like now it's a little worse because Trump or whatever. But you know, it feels like that's the most scary part of racism and like that because it's when you don't know and people are behind the scenes orchestrating
I just feel
this.
like,
you know,
I don't know, like that. What's that one like Martin Luther King quote? Like if like injustice anywhere is, or like
injustice everywhere.
Pretty much. Like, dude, like we're just like right above them. Like we're not like high class people. We're not fucking rich.
Not at all.
We're Mexican, you know. Like we're like they don't want us here.
Yeah, exactly.
And now everybody's like letting their freaking racism come out all of a sudden.
I think with like just the way that the political scheme has become right now, it's allowed a lot of closet hatred, racism to kind of come out into the public because it's not as like not regulated, but
it went from
people
like
aren't
Obama,
as afraid.
Obama to Trump, and like
it was a complete 180. Like shit.
Yeah,
it was okay to be that person now.
Like I felt safe when Obama was like president. I was like, all right, I don't feel like I'm gonna get like.
Yeah, but now it's like all based on appearances. Like they don't want homeless people there.
Yeah.
Or they don't want people dressing like you and I or whatever.
Right.
Like if they saw Kevin down the street, they're like, "What the
I'll
fuck
rob
is
your
that?"
kids. Yo, speaking of that, there's a good like a local artist. Have you heard of Sour?
I have not.
No. Sour's out of Tempe, and Sour, he's one of like the local artists that actually is constantly getting in trouble by the law. Like Tempe police have arrested him many times and kind of given him citations and whatnot. But he's out there actually spreading like positivity. And there's this point in Central Phoenix, a little down the way, where there's like a pocket where all the homeless are put into tents, and no one really knows about that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's exactly. And so he went and actually put up a wheat paste there not too long ago.
Oh, damn.
So little things like that kind of remind you that like, I know you guys want to hide that kind of stuff away. You know, going back to our painting, as far as the positivity towards the homeless community, but it's just there's other artists that are doing their show.
I feel like Scottsdale could have just put that money towards helping.
Yeah.
Like any way possible, but like why would you just put a sign?
You're like, get the fuck out. Right. Basically, we don't want you here.
Right.
And again, it's based on appearances and shit. Like, these could be good people that just have caught a bad break, or maybe are trying to get turned around, but they just need that one thing.
Well, then you get further into it, and it's like a lot of it is like mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Some are schizophrenic, and so when you can't have, like, you don't have like a foundation, like a set home, like a brother or sister or mom and dad to help you out, and you're on your own, like it's difficult for you to get mental.
Yeah. And you never know just by looking at somebody. You gotta talk to
exactly.
I hung out with this homeless woman like a month ago, and then I was telling Kevin about it, and he like knew her.
I met her
from
probably about 3 months before. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like random. I was like, dude, like, damn. She was so chill, She was just normal.
You never know people's stories.
No, and that was the case that time where I was going to Fry's to grab dinner for that evening to cook up and whatnot, and I bought her. It was like December, which is like probably like the coldest month I would say here. And so I went inside, and she, as I was getting into the Fry's, she's like, "Hey, do you have any extra money?" And rent had just come by, and I was dead broke, dude. And I was like, I really don't have anything to give, but if I have any extra change, I'll bring it back out. I bought her a blanket with what I had as far as like, extra money, and a chicken, like a rotisserie chicken.
Oh, yeah.
But I went back out, and she's like, I'll take the blanket, but I have a bunch of allergies. So I gave her the receipt and was like, don't worry about it, here. Just return the rotisserie chicken and use that money to get whatever you want to eat, But what was really fucking beautiful about the whole scenario is that when we did that, I go, just have a good night. And she goes, no, wait. Let me like recite a poem from you, like an original poem.
What?
And so that to me was like beautiful, because you just never know, kind of like what you're touching on, you never know a person's story, dude. You never know what they've dealt with. And anyways, she gave me about 6 or 7 different categories as far as what to pick for the poetry, and one was bees. And so I picked bees, and she probably recited like a 2.5 minute poem, and it's flawless, dude. It's fucking beautiful. So just like really yeah.
And then when I hung out with her, she was like, she logged on to Facebook on my phone, and she was like showing me all these like art things that she had made, like sculptures that she had worked on, like just like so many art pieces.
Wow.
I was like, dude. And then we like placed it all together. We're like, we met the same person.
Human, like we described her to a T.
We were meant to like meet this person.
Like,
that's crazy.
Just little things like that. Where
and see, like, you didn't judge her by her appearance or whatever. You just gave her an opportunity, and that's it. Like,
never.
And I feel like, it shouldn't be that way. Really shouldn't judge people by the looks or the cover,
Right. Well, by little steps like this, maybe like whoever's listening will be like, you know what?
Because I feel like, I met you guys are the coolest people, like chillest people. I think when I first met you, like you were super nice and kind. Like both of you guys were. I think we were like just hanging out, drinking, smoking, and talking music. And I was like, dude, I love like your Clash thing. I love like the Dead Kennedy stuff.
Right.
And then he's talking about making me a Joy Division jacket. They both make clothes, like their outfits are tight. But like if somebody was seeing me down the street, they immediately, like we were talking about outside, would assume, oh, that guy is a punk guy, or he's a punk.
Yeah.
So you said, right?
Well, we talked about that earlier. Where a lot of like the punk thing is to be this machismo kind of like fuck you and fuck society, establishment, and I'm like
anarchy.
No, like don't give people a bad name. A lot of them are really intelligent and like they have fundamental values, and they're trying to really change things around them. Things that piss them off, things that are constantly, being troublesome to just the regular person.
Yeah.
The lower class. And so it's just, I don't know, just funny that.
Or even just standards.
Yeah, because I've been to bars
labels,
before.
Labels are weird.
I've been to bars before where I've like seen that guy, with studded jacket, and he's like almost like trying to, and he's throwing the beer at the bartender, like, give me another. And I'm like, dude,
is that what I look like?
No, I'm just like, dude, you're fucking dumb,
Damn.
But That's that thing. Yeah.
With the Sex Pistols thing on his back.
Completely. That's exactly. Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but completely. Yeah. I'm like, you love Sid Vicious. Who? What?
Yeah, but see, like,
Sid Vicious.
yeah, it's really tough because, like, you know, that's your form of expression, and unfortunately, there's like a label to it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't even like. I don't consider myself punk. I'm just like, I'm just kidding. I'm just like doing my thing. Yeah, I don't want to classify. I don't want to pigeonhole myself to something. I don't want to pin myself to something. You know what I mean? I just like.
There should be like no boundaries.
No boundaries at all, dude.
Exactly. Because like you were saying earlier, like you were going to raves in your pajamas and stuff, right?
No, not raves. We've never been to a rave.
Punk
show. It was a punk show. That was at the Rat's Ass. Rest in peace, Rat's Ass.
Damn.
That was like, and dude. That's actually a really cool story too.
Yeah, I remember. So the Rat's Ass is like this. What is it? Like a squat?
It was like a little punk squat back in the day.
It's like a squat, so like anybody can stay there and sleep there if they need to.
Oh,
if you don't have a home, like that's your home. There's mattresses. And I remember, how did you meet Tony? You met.
Well, one night I'm at a show and that was one thing that used to like stop me, like being on my own, going out to concerts or anything like that, events, art events. I'd be like, you know what, like, I don't really have anyone to go with, so I'm just gonna stay put. Like, I'll stay in tonight. And then after a while, I just thought, like, I disregarded that. I said, fuck that shit. If I want to go see an artist, if I want to go do something, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna go there with like what's up, what's going on, and meet people and have a good fucking time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So one night I go out to Trunk Space, and they had a punk show that night, and I'm sitting in line, you know, waiting to get in, and I hear people behind me speaking Spanish.
Oh damn!
Yeah, and it's Tony
It's like
Crust.
an instant connection.
Yeah, it's literally, you know, you like my brain is at least like I hear, you know, Spanish, and I'm like what's up? Yeah. And so I hear Tony Crust and Jaime Sucio from Manos Sucias, which is a local band from Mesa. Damn. Yeah, they've been around for about 10 years or so, and I hear them speaking Spanish. No, Tony, dame otra cerveza. And I like turn around and I'm like, yo, can I have a beer? And they're like, yeah. And they invite me. They're like, you know what? Hey, in like 2 or 3 days, we have a show going on at this place that is the Rat's Ass. It's these little warehouses where musicians are able to. But they didn't
really tell you.
They didn't really tell me much about it.
They were like, just text us like the day of for the address.
And show up.
So it's like we didn't really know.
We didn't really
what
much
to
of anything.
Expect, so we're like, I remember just driving there, and we ended up driving in like this dark ass like street, and I literally was like, "Are we about to die?"
We'll be all right,
dude. I was like, "Where are we going?" Like the buildings were like industrial, like
super
warehouses.
Industrial. What it is there's so much noise there, like, you know, industrial noise that they're able to play their music because it's not bothering like the local neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they're like, there was one space where it was like storage units, and it was like in one of the storage units, and I remember just like parking on the side of the street, and like there was like security guards there, and then we're like walking up with like 40s, and I'm like, is this even like safe? And I remember we got to like the storage unit, and it was the Rat's Ass, and you know, like they don't even care if you're like 21 or not, like they just like
everyone's drinking, everyone's fucking around, having fun.
And then like it's just like there's just like graffiti everywhere. It's like it's so sick. It's like,
fucking
there's
freedom,
like couches and like mattresses on the wall.
Fuck. And that was for that band Las Sucias, you said?
Well, Manos Sucias was one of the bands that played there. There's a multitude of bands that play there. In fact, like they even had bands from like out of the country come, you know, from like France.
It was like just super like underground, like literally like just a community of people. And like
no
I remember
judgment.
They would walk around like during the show with like a bucket, and you would just put money in it, and it's like pretty much you're paying for the rent to see another show.
The next day. Yeah, it's so crazy,
sick.
dude.
Like everybody's so nice.
Wow. So going back to what we talked about in the backyard, where you know, people go to these shows and you know, sometimes like what you said, like dressing the part. There is no dressing the part at these shows. If you go in there, Karen used to go there with her pajamas. You know, and
like some of those people people barely even have like clothes, so like they would just wear the same stuff all the time.
So there's no
But it's
prejudice.
like you get
It's
to know
just,
people after a while, you know, and like
just about the
feel
music
welcome
and
Exactly.
like,
I feel like that's what it should be about. Like if you
Completely.
go a place, wherever it is, you just go be yourself. You're there
Right.
for the true purpose, the music.
Because how like who is to be a gatekeeper where it's like you have to dress this way?
Yeah.
Like
Well, I remember like I went to an indie music festival in Long Beach. It was like indie bands, MGMT, like
Right.
Phoenix, and like I was wearing just my Japanese Joy Division shirt, and like it was so fucking funny because I went in there. I was in the getting a beer, and this guy, older guy, he's a Mexican guy. He said, "Hey," and he showed me his tattoo, and he had like the Unknown Pleasures thing. He's like, "Dude, I fucking love that."
oh,
band.
dude, that's
And-
awesome.
No, so he was like,
Yeah, yeah.
like I love, that
Yeah.
shirt and everything,
That's
and so
tight.
I was like, oh, cool. And then I was waiting. We're waiting for MGMT, and there's just like this crowd of like younger like white kids.
Yeah.
That, like they're raised in like the rich part of California, and then he's just like, I was singing a song. I was singing a drum song. Like we're all singing it. And he's like, "Oh, hey man, yeah, fuck yeah. I was gonna say something about your shirt, but nah, you cool." Like, and I was like, "Okay, motherfucker, like you're gonna ask me like who's the lead singer,
Right.
like, just because I'm wearing it doesn't mean like I just know about it from Tumblr,
Right.
So, but yeah, it's like appearances, like I'm not there to dress the part,
Yeah, no, you shouldn't be. Yeah.
I'm just gonna wear like a band T-shirt that I like,
But that's another thing that I feel like has connected me to random humans. Or I'm out at like Hobby Lobby, or I'm out grabbing food, and some guy's like, "What the fuck? You like Anaschism?" I'm like, "I do. Yeah, I love them." You know what I mean? So I feel like it kind of, as much as someone could like be like,
people just stare sometimes.
Yeah.
but it's cool. Like it's connected me to like random humans. In fact, dude, I used to work this like random like coding job at a real estate company. No one knew who the fuck I was in there. I'd go in there and be like, I fucking hate all of you. It'd be like, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh yeah, that's good. All right, later. Like I would be dressed, in like the fucking whatever,
the polo and
the
khakis.
polo and shit. Not the khakis. Like no, I still like, you know what I mean. But that's what kind of made. I was
Like the Sperry's.
yeah, it's terrible, dude. That kind of shit. I'm like,
Give me my check.
right.
Damn. No, but yeah, see, and you're just being you. So like, there's not a label to it. Like,
Yeah, because like no one there knew. Like, there's no band T-shirt to like relate one another
Right.
to. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little
They're
different.
like, who's Cockscars? You're like, oh shit.
oh
Right.
yeah.
Jealous.
Damn.
Right.
I know, right? That's tight. That's cool though. But like, what are you guys listening to now? What do you guys like? I've been on a kick lately.
Yeah.
Where I've been listening to like a lot of like French indie rock, pop, and like I started listening to like punk music because I was talking to you guys recently.
Yeah.
So I have like well, not punk music, more like rock music. There's a little bit of punk, but from like Vietnam
Right.
and
That's
from
cool.
French too, from France.
Well, it's I've noticed that you'll message me about older bands.
Yeah.
Like Cockney Rejects.
Yeah.
Yeah, you messaged me
My friend
about
Delvin
them.
told me about them.
Yeah, and then I tried to get you into Raped, which
Yeah,
was
okay.
like 1978.
Yeah.
And they were like, cross dressers.
Oh,
So
shit.
they were constantly getting ridiculed, at
Yeah.
the time. So that's why they didn't get very popular. You know what I mean?
So like, how do you feel about that? Because we're talking about appearances, like,
Yeah.
because some bands I know like have a gimmick or something,
Right.
Whereas some people like maybe that band like they're doing it because that's who they really are,
Who
and
they really
represent.
are, yeah.
Like, how do you feel about that? Like, I know, what's that guy's name? Damn, the real crazy one. Damn it, it's the
Gigi
tip of my
Allen?
tongue. Gigi Allen.
Gigi Allen.
So like I saw documentaries of fucking like 3 years ago. I was just scouring the YouTube suggested videos,
How do I
Fucking
know?
Gigi
and I
Allen.
saw a video of this guy. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's nuts, dude.
And he was nuts, but I was like,
His
I can't
music?
really tell if
Dude.
he's doing it for the sake of it or if he's really like this fucking person.
Yeah,
He had a
I don't
really
know.
fucked up childhood.
Yeah, I read
And
about all that crazy
I
shit.
met his brother because
Merle with the
because I've seen them live. In
What's that
fact, me and Scummy ended up shoving a drumstick up the drummer's ass.
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
I have a video of it too. So Scummy, what's up, brother? My man. Yeah, when we saw them because they played as the Murder Junkies over at
Yeah,
fuck, what was it, Rips or I can't remember where they played, but I was there.
So weird. But I like his music, honestly. Gigi Allen, I like some of his songs. But as a person,
Yucky.
I'm like, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, so like, to me, like, there's just a lot to digest, and I can't put it together like as a song. It's funny because like, and like, you know, that might offend some people. People are like really into Gigi Allen or whatever. But like, I had that happen to me recently. Like, I was telling some guy, my friend Jordan. He used to work at Hot Topic, so he's like a little older.
Yeah.
And he's into like, I guess he's into punk music. And I was talking to him about, what band was it? Oh, Mars Volta. I was like, he's like, what are you listening to? I'm like, oh, the Mars Volta. He's like, yeah, it's just noise to me. So like, to some people, like, it's just funny hearing like their opinion.
Right.
But it's cool. Everybody has like their subjective opinion.
Right.
You know? But like, what do you feel like?
Because I'm like, I can't listen to country.
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't relate with country.
I can't. I just can't.
My dog and my bear.
I know some songs. Like, there's some catchy songs. Like, the only thing close to it would be like Johnny Cash that I can fuck with.
I love Johnny Cash. It's folk punk country.
Yeah. Johnny Cash is always good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could skate to anything. I could skate to Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to go back to Gigi Allen though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you met the Murder Junkies. You met Merle. You shoved the stick up his ass.
But my thing is just like, so back in the day when Gigi Allen was playing, and he would fling his own shit into these crowds.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm like hanging right by the pit.
Yeah.
Dude, at those shows, I'd be in
I wouldn't even go to those
back.
shows. That's so disgusting.
Crazy, dude.
So you wouldn't go to them?
Would you go to a show?
I would go to it.
I would
Just for the sheer
go, but
fact
I'd
to
be in
see it.
I'd be in the
scared.
fucking.
I'm not a supporter of Gigi Allen. He's like, there's a couple of good songs that they put out, you know, but like, fuck.
So you just went to just go see fucking.
No,
see
like the Murder Junkies are great, you know, they're tight, but it's that shock value doesn't like.
Yeah.
You're just like, what?
It's
This
just
isn't your everyday.
And I feel
crowd.
like that way in like
funny.
in the house community too. I was telling you, like, I'm into house music.
Yeah.
And like some of the gimmicks I just don't understand, like the masks thing. Like Daft Punk, that was their shit. Like, you know, I'm sure there was groups before that did it.
Right.
But that's like them, and I feel like some people, like, I went to a Daft Punk tribute show, and there were like these DJs with like duck faces on.
Oh shit.
And they had like lasers and shit, but they were playing the most generic ass like electronic music from like 2013. And I just felt like it was a gimmick.
Yeah.
You know, like ducks. Okay, like
Maybe,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe they're not like as original.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But
Like MF Doom, like you guys know who Doom is,
yeah.
right?
I love that.
So he wears the mask, and I'm sure you guys heard about like him sending out
imposters too,
imposters.
right? Yeah.
But he does it because he's like, it's not about me, motherfuckers. Like, it's about
But the
music.
movement kind of thing.
Yeah.
Almost? Yeah.
It's about the music, you know.
Dude, yeah, that was like one of the first artists like I listened to
Oh, really?
in like hip hop. Yeah, like
Damn.
him, and then he did the collab with Madlib.
Madlib, yeah.
So that was like
Love
a big
Madlib.
thing, and then like with Madlib, it like stemmed to like Quali.
Yeah.
And
Fuck yeah.
like, yeah.
She's the one that got me into all that stuff.
Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah,
at one
so
point,
much-
she had an iPod that she like.
I still have the iPod.
Yeah, she
It's-
still
Damn.
has it.
I got it in like 2009,
Yeah.
Oh
and
shit.
it's still alive, and it has like 1,000 extra songs, and
Oh,
it's supposed
bro,
to.
bring that next time.
Dude,
I'll rip it.
Oh my god.
I don't know what happened where and at that point I was listening to like a Global Threat and then random shit, you know, punk bands, and she was just like boom, and then I got into like deeper into Gangstar,
Oh,
you know,
fuck.
Talib Kweli, Most Def,
Yeah, like Souls of Mischief.
Souls of Mischief,
Yeah.
Binary
I
Star,
got to see them
Hell
live.
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's like my type of music.
That reminds me of
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
people live. We gotta talk about that Jizza thing.
I used to like always. We would take the bus, like we said earlier, like 30 minutes, like, and we would always just be like, I remember times when I was like really fucked up, like on the bus, and I'd just be listening to like my music, like that iPod like saved me. Like, it got me like through so much. It was like everything, you know, all that music.
So when she lent it to me though, through that, Jizza was on there, Liquid Swords.
Oh yeah.
So we ended up going to see the Jizza. So it was just Jizza doing the entirety of Liquid Swords.
Yeah.
It was just like
it
20.
Was just the album. It was like the
20. Well, like it's got to be like 2013.
I don't know.
Dang.
Yeah. And so he's doing all of Liquid Swords. And before him is, do you remember that
Killer
Outkast song?
Mike.
Yeah, Killer Mike on
Do you know who Killer
Outkast.
Mike is?
Yeah. He's on
The Outkast song.
but he's got a
and the
group
whole
too, right?
I
world
don't know.
loves it when you sing.
I just
that
remember
song.
him because it was instant.
Yeah.
Ba, 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 ba. So that's Killer Mike, Andre, and Big Boy, right? Yeah.
Anyways, Killer Mike was opening for Jizza, and he was like rapping and shit, and like it wasn't that packed, and he was like, "Yo, like light your joints, everyone," and I was like, "Kevin, like light the fucking joint."
I had him in my
you know,
crotch.
it's like he
Dude,
said light it, so light it.
in fact, when we got in, you know, at the marquee, you get searched. So the lady like does that whole thing, you know, she's like,
I feel like we always
kind of gets down to my
shit
crotch, and
in.
she's like, "You have weed on you," and I'm like, "No, I don't," and she's like, "I could smell it," and I was like, "Well, it's a hip hop concert, like, I'm like out for the night, like." I smoked before, it's probably just lingering in my clothes. She was like, "I'm letting you know right now, if you smoke in there, you're gonna get fucking caught." I said, fuck you. And then I got caught.
And he got caught.
Well, Kevin got caught, and Kevin and another friend.
Another homie. Because I sparked all three joints. I was like,
and I felt bad because I was the one that was like, light that shit, like,
damn.
light it.
And then Karen, did you stay? You stay for the show?
Nah, she hopped
me
out
and,
on it.
Me and the other homie were like, yeah, let's go.
So we didn't even get to see Jizza.
Run the Jewels is the group that Killer Mike is in, I think.
Is he in that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's in Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
I want to say if I'm wrong.
I still haven't listened to their music.
I listened to a couple of their songs, but it's different taste.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's just like maybe I'll get into it at some point.
Gotcha.
Like I'm on a different wave right now.
Word.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's tight. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What are you guys working on now? Like I know you've been doing some of your custom clothing and stuff.
Yeah, that's like my therapeutic art sense. Like when it comes to the paintings, Karen knows this, dude. I get stressed out, and it's very, like I really try to convey a message, and when it doesn't come up,
it's not just something that you just like
it
start painting. Like that's cool that people can do that, like paint and then like come up with something. But I feel like for the most part, like our art has something to say.
Yeah, it's got a
like
message
something
behind
more-
it.
always, dude. That's like the main thing. And so, in fact, I have messages. The last painting that her and I did with, that we talked about, I have messages from October from a guy that messaged me and goes, "Have you seen all those fucking signs in Scottsdale?"
Wow.
And I was like, dude, just wait till we get this painting done.
Yeah.
Because it's been like, it's
Yeah.
been a concept for a long
We were
time.
like, we had already talked about this like before.
Yeah, and we had different concepts. In fact, we wanted to initially, remember? We wanted to get an inflatable doll and
like set it out.
set it up with like a sleeping bag right by those signs to like emphasize like it's just it's just a lowly human like come on, bro, really?
Yeah.
Like you can't sympathize towards it. Yeah.
Fuck.
But so we figured out a way to not get in trouble. I've gotten arrested for graffiti, so I can't get in trouble. Man.
We're trying to avoid that route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're doing what you can. That's appreciated.
well, that's the main thing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we have to be vocal. We have to.
Yeah, I feel like we got a lot of positive feedback on that. That was like
Yeah, no, I did. I saw it right away, and I immediately, like I said, changed my perspective on it. It was like, damn, like this is what's really going on here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I know you're still skating and stuff. Like, I wanted to ask you, because we're talking about appearances a little earlier on.
Of course.
Did you ever feel like you were treated differently, good or bad, maybe in like skating and stuff? Like growing up in that world, like as a girl, basically?
I feel like it was. You always get looked at. That's for sure. And like sometimes I feel like I could tell when people are being like weirdos. So I'm like, like sometimes it's like to the point where you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I've never like felt like I didn't belong there. Like sometimes I feel it from like girls that are in the scene.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of more of a competitive thing, and I hate that because I'm like the least competitive person ever.
You're just trying to be chill there.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like skateboarding has taught me that like I'm my own competition, and like it's all a process. Like,
right.
You're learning like one thing and like you're applying it, and the more you practice, like with anything, it's like you're gonna get better.
Exactly.
You know? Like I've done things that I like never thought I would do, like skateboarding. So that's like the best part.
And it's cool because like you said, for the most part, everybody's there for the same reason. They're looking to escape or get away from the world. But like that's crazy. It's interesting that you feel like it's more competitive with the girls, like amongst each other.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've always gotten along better with like the guys. Okay. I'm like one of the bros.
Well, just one of the guys.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I have a lot of guy friends that skate, and like it feels like safe. You know, it's like a safe space, and like like I said, it depends like who's there and like how it makes me feel. So if like all the homies are there, like I feel comfortable.
Right.
You know, and I'm like I don't feel like I have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Do you guys like mob out together, or you just show up and people are just there?
It's actually fucking cool because like everybody will just go whenever they can. So like I used to just go by myself, and then like I would see like my friend there, and like we would hang out.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Do you guys ever skate together, Kevin?
We did. Like,
we did a couple weeks ago.
What was it like last year when we skated?
Yeah, we skated and yeah. All right, so I used to skate a lot. That was like my main thing. Like we'd catch buses and end up wherever, the random skate parks. But Karen motivated me when I moved in with her. You know, we lived together and whatnot. You know, we got a little condo, and we went out one night. We skated for what, like
it was probably like an hour and a half.
Probably an hour and a half.
It was, we skated around our neighborhood.
But I started getting my flip trips back. I was doing like varial flips and random things.
We were like finding little obstacles, like little slants, and like little like.
I was doing my thing.
Random shit.
2 days later, I can't even fucking stand up straight. Dude, no, like my back was out of whack. Like, my hips were unaligned, and so I couldn't. Like I literally.
Your body wasn't like used to that exercise.
I literally so I'm 6 foot, right? 6'1", 6 foot. I was like 5'7". I was all hunched over. Yeah. Karen kept saying that. She was like, "Your body's all awkward."
Yeah,
I like so awkward, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. We went to Zoo Izakaya, which is over like on McKellips and Scottsdale Road. And I remember we met 2 dudes who ended up inviting us over to the crib to smoke bud, in which we did, you know. And I'm like, what if they're weird? And I gotta protect Karen. And I'm like, what's up, motherfucker? Like, I'll beat your ass, you know. I'm like, you know, I'm like,
dude, you could like barely move. You were like,
dude. They were like, what's wrong with you? And Karen's like, he's not usually like that. She's being really cool about that.
I was like, his back. He just looks weird.
Dude, I was literally like,
damn.
Like
dude,
his whole body like shifted.
It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't go to the doctor or anything. I just
just stop skating. That was good.
Yeah, I took it as a lesson. I was like, yeah, my body's not meant for this shit.
Yeah, that's the only thing that sucks. Like I never got back into it because my fucking knees.
When did you start?
I skated like right after like summer of 6th grade.
Okay, cool.
Going into middle school.
Yeah.
Because all my neighbors skated. And like we would just play Tony Hawk, PlayStation, and then they were like go off to skate, and I was like, fuck, well, I want to hang out with my friends. Yeah. So like I pieced together a board. Like one homie gave me his old trucks, the other one gave me his old bearings. I got wheels from another friend, and then like I just pieced together a board. I bought a mini logo, size 8, black one. It's all good for it. I just skated.
Mini logo, dude. That shit was a good brand though.
Yeah, so I would just fucking skate. I lived right there by St. Daniel's Church in Scottsdale. It's on Roosevelt and like Miller.
Yeah, that's where we used to go to. Is that where we used to go to? Was it church? No.
I think it was like Hayden, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was
Hayden. Right around there. So I would go there and like skate down El Dorado and just skate to the park at the Wedge.
Yeah. And
then in 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, we would come home. We would go to the skate park from Supai and then just buy like a 2 liter of Shasta soda and like some sabritones. That's all we fucking ate.
That's awesome.
I just had my Discman and I had the eventually iPod Shuffle, just fucking skating.
Damn.
But yeah, that was
It was St. Francis, right? St. Francis the
I thought
prophet.
it was
St. Daniel's.
St. Daniel's.
St. Daniel's.
St. Daniel's the prophet.
Yeah.
Something.
And but yeah, I broke my board, and my fat ass uncle was like, "Well, let me ride it," and he just fucking steps in the middle, cracks it, and that's when all my homies are like asking for their stuff back, and I couldn't afford to get
no.
another board.
Fuck,
You're like, well, I could give you the trucks back.
Yeah, so I'm like taking out all this shit, and then I tried to get a board in high school, and then like I was playing sports, and like my knees were just like shot,
Oh,
you
no.
know.
Oh, yeah.
And
I feel like that sometimes too. I feel like my knees are rusty.
like I would still skate.
You've been
Like
saying
if
that
I could
for a
just cruise and like if I get a skateboard and go to work or whatever, I'd be fine. But like if I'm trying to do tricks or whatever,
No,
Yeah.
I'm more like you now. I don't want to do any of that shit.
Mhm.
I just want to like be able to ride.
hmm
I feel like that's why like vert is, or like not vert, but transition's like fun because you know you could just like cruise.
Cruise.
yeah,
Yeah. I
Did you
feel
guys-
like I avoided like street skating.
yeah,
I'm like, ugh.
yeah. That's just intense too. Did you guys see that movie by Jonah Hill, mid '90s?
Yeah.
No, I still haven't
did.
seen
Did
that.
you see it?
I did.
Yeah. What'd you think of it?
Um,
That's cool. You can say whatever.
I'm like, I'm trying to think. Like,
Was
I
the
saw
music
it
good?
right when it. I don't remember.
Because it was
the
all
music.
like
It was good music.
Kinda
There were
like
some
hip-hop.
memorable tracks.
Yeah, I'm like, it feels like kind of relatable,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. It was a big nostalgia trip for me.
Yeah.
So did he grow up in that kind of scene, or did he just
I
kind
feel
of?
like he just always had like a respect for
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
which
gotcha.
is cool. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
that is cool.
I feel like it captured like
Mhm.
the
essence.
of it, you know.
Yeah. It was a crazy story. It was like
Yeah.
euphoria, crazy about this like 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like going through some crazy shit. But it was all like, it didn't feel, I don't know, to me it didn't feel like it was like trying too hard. Like it was
It's
just
natural.
what it was.
Yeah.
Because like I was always around it, like I wasn't like involved like in like all the dark shit.
Yeah.
But like I had friends who were in it, like friends who were
Yeah.
into drugs, like all one just cared about partying. The other dude, you know, was trying to make it big. So like it was crazy seeing. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, like that's my friend Chris, and then that's Edwin, and you know,
Yeah.
damn. But yeah, it was a good movie. But I think I just wanted to wrap it up. I wanted to say like, you guys like, what are you guys like planning to work on like, with the painting and everything?
Well,
I want to have like a little art show
Okay.
because I have some photos that I want to show.
Yeah.
I take like film photos,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I never really share them. And I mean, I have some good ones, and I just bought like a ton of film because
Okay.
we're going to New York, so
Oh yeah.
I'm like planning to
art,
shoot
yeah.
like out there. So
Yeah. Tight.
I want to do something like that and have like the piece, but I also want to have like other homies like show their art. You
Yeah.
know, like music wise too.
Okay.
yeah.
You know, because I'm like, we know so many talented people.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like we could all make something together, and like we've also been talking about having like art nights, so like
Okay.
where everybody like comes over and like you could bring whatever kind of material you have.
Mhm.
We have like a bunch of paint and all that stuff. So
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
like,
That'd be tight.
yeah, I'm like, we should all just create.
Yeah.
you
See
know,
just
like
what
just for
happens.
fun, even if it's just nothing.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
create something.
That's the main thing. Like we have crates of spray paint. We have a bunch of acrylic paint,
Mm-hmm.
and then like we want to do this thing where it's like, hopefully, like in mid-February, do like a DIY show at the house
Mm-hmm.
where people can come in like and you know make some art with us. Where we like bring people, and you know, February, what do you think about Valentine's? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like being with like your significant other. We're just doing like a thing where it's like we're all together, dude. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's all hang
Cool.
out, figure some shit out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind
That's
of thing.
cool. So yeah, I'll definitely post you guys' social media pages. So you
Yeah,
guys,
absolutely.
you know, if anybody's interested in reaching out, checking out their work, they're really
Yeah.
talented guys. They got some amazing pieces. Kevin's actually gonna work on a jacket for me. I'm excited. Hell yeah, I'm excited. But anything else you guys want to say to the world? Any closing thoughts? You know?
Just be nice to each other.
Right?
Yeah.
Just be chill, everybody.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Adrian and Raymond. I love you guys. That's
Yeah.
it.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for
It was
letting us-
fun.
I love you, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I'd love to do this again. For sure. I love you too, man. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in at the bump. And until next time, peace.
Wrong fingers.